So Mark Carney has officially introduced his first full cabinet, and if there's one message that he wants to send, it's this. Things are going to be different. Standing outside Bridue Hall today after the swearing-in ceremony, Carney didn't hold back. He said that his government is ready to move fast and with purpose. He told reporters, "We're starting as we go on. Our government will deliver its mandate for change with urgency and determination. In other words, expect action, not just talk." Carney described his new team as purpose-built for this hinge movement in Canada's history, and that's basically a bold way of him saying that he sees Canada at a turning point and he believes that this cabinet is the team to meet the moment head-on. Now, one of the biggest changes is the size of the cabinet, because Carney's cabinet is noticeably smaller than what we've seen in recent years, 28 ministers compared to Justin Trudeau's 39 ministers. And rather than just cutting back, Carney's also bringing back this old school approach by creating a second tier of 10 secretaries of state. Now, this extra layer of leadership hasn't been used since before Trudeau, and Carney says that it's all about running a tighter, more focused operation while still making room for fresh voices. And speaking of voices, Carney has tried to strike a balance between experience and new energy, because on one hand, he's kept several familiar faces that you guys know really well. People like Chrystia Freeland, Melanie Joly, Dominic LeBlanc, François-Philippe Champagne, Stephen Guilbeault. But he's also brought in a wave of newcomers. So think Gregor Robertson, the former Vancouver mayor, ex-broadcaster Evan Solomon, Natalie Provost, who is the engineer and the survivor of the Polytechnique shooting. Other fresh names include Rebecca Alty, who's the former mayor of Yellowknife, Tim Hodgson, who once advised Carney at the Bank of Canada and led Goldman Sachs Canada. It's a mix of regions, professions, and perspectives that Carney clearly hopes will bring some new ideas to the table. Now, this half-veteran, half-rookie structure isn't really an accident. Carney was pretty clear with everybody that Canadians voted for a big change, not small change, and that means fresh thinking, but also the know-how to actually get things done. So what's on the agenda, right? Quite a lot. Carney's government is jumping into a rage of very big-ticket promises, from cutting taxes for the middle class to removing the GST from some homes for first-time buyers, doubling the pace of home building. He's also making a serious push for defense spending, more than $18 billion over 4 years, with the goal of hitting Canada's NATO's target 2 years earlier than the previous government planned. And let's not forget the U.S., because Carney wants to strengthen Canada's independence and also maintain some good boundaries with our southern neighbor, especially now that Donald Trump is in the White House. Now, Dominic LeBlanc was actually tapped for a new wide-reaching portfolio that does include Canada-U.S. trade, intergovernmental affairs, and what Carney is calling the One Canadian Economy strategy. So it's basically about making sure that Canada holds its own on the global stage. Now, of course, not everybody's thrilled. There's several MPs who were promoted just 8 weeks ago, like Ariel Kayabaga and Cody Bloss, that have already been dropped, and big names like Jonathan Wilkinson, who was the former environmental minister, and Bill Blair, who was the former defense minister, are also out. And definitely the shuffle caught some people by surprise, and not in a good way. MP Nate Erkin-Smith said that it was impossible not to feel disrespected, but Carney still seems to be determined to reset the tone. Sorry, guys. His cabinet also is gender balanced. There are 14 men and 14 women. It includes voices from every province, plus one territory. And when he was asked how he felt heading into Bridue Hall this morning, he just simply said, "We're ready to go." And if you're wondering how the opposition feels about all this, just know that Pierre Poilievre did manage to actually throw out a polite congratulations this morning, but then he also made it super clear that he's going to be watching closely, and he wants to see dramatic changes and not soft reassurances. And of course, he also took the opportunity to throw in a couple of stabs at the appointments, specifically calling out Sean Fraser, who's now the Justice Minister, and Stephen Guilbeault, who is now staying on an environment. Now, the House of Commons returns on May 26, and all eyes are going to be on this new team. So the real question here is going to be, can Carney's smaller, sharper cabinet actually deliver the sweeping changes that were promised to Canadians? We don't know. Time will tell. But one thing that's certain is that the political winds in Ottawa just shifted. And here you can pause to read to see the full list of Carney's cabinet.